Drink it in, man.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Cornbread! Cornbread! Cornbread!
Drink it in, man.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Cornbread!
Detroit Koolaid. Detroit Koolaid drinkers. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Eric Oakrey, right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Always serving up that delicious Honolulu Blue flavor, Detroit Koolaid. Drink it in, man. Side of cornbread.
Cornbread!
Make it a double.
Cornbread!
And I'm excited for this show. I mean, the preseason's over. We're heading to actual real NFL football. There's so much to talk about. Cuts actually just happened to the 53 before I hit the big red button here on the show, so we'll get into that. But before we can do all that, I got to introduce my guest today. And I'm really excited to have him. Me and this guy have been going back and forth about trying to do a pod. He jumped in a few of my fantasy leagues. He's always out there talking sports on the Twitter sphere. You guys know who he is. This is KP from Real Deal Sports Talk. KP, you made it. You're on the Koolaid Cast, man. Drink it in. How you doing?
Man, I am drinking it in. I'm glad to be here today. Get to talk some football with my guy, Derek. You know, like you said, going back and forth. This is an exciting day for me. I'm on the Koolaid Cast. One pride, the family. They're listening. They're tuning in. So, yeah, man, cuts were made. The team's taking shape. We got a direction. I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely, man. It's great to have you. And I just said absolutely, man. I put out on Twitter, that's my new pet peeves. Everybody that says absolutely. So that's a strike for me right off the show. I think I got a sound bite for that, to be honest. We like to have fun with the sound bits here on the show. As you know, we'll get some Dan Campbell. Who knows what might happen here on the show. But KP, man, we got lots to talk about, so we might as well just do what I always say, which is not mess around, get right into it, man. Let's deal with these cuts right off the top. They just went down. Lions got to 53. I got the list here right in front of me. We won't bore the people, but to run it down, they put Jerry Jacobs, who's lovingly known on this show as Jury Jacobs, which is Juurryyy Jacobs. Heck of a ball player. He's going to go on PUP, be out 4 weeks. They released Tim Boyle, Jared Davis, Funchie, Hector. Justin Jackson was kind of a surprise cut to some, not so much to others. Lamb, the tackle, Skipper. Those guys were all released. The waived was Mo Alexander, Boswell, Deese, Easy E, Gilbert. James Houston, the rookie, got cut. Godwin, Igwe, Buke, Tom, Kennedy, A.J. Parker, Riley Patterson, Paulo, the tackle, Pimpleton from Fire Up Chips, dropping the football over the place. We got Pittman, the linebacker, Smith, the corner from Bama, and they waived injured Eric Banks, Trinity Benson, Jay Sean Cornell from, well, you know.
Hey, listen, Ohio State sucks.
Kevin Jarvis, the guard, is gone, as well as C.J. Moore. KP, I think I hit them all. Pick out a few that you want to talk about or some surprises that you had.
You know, I don't know if it was a surprise, but I was hopeful that Devin Funchess was going to come on in camp. I was hoping he was going to be that receiver type tight end that we could use as a mismatch here and there. It never really developed. You never really saw him getting a flow with the offense or be utilized in that way. He had a couple moments in the preseason, but not really a surprise, I guess, that he's gone. Igwebuike, that guy, I mean, the heart, the way he plays the game, that's a guy you want in your locker room to me. I understand Jefferson had a really nice preseason. He showed some stuff. He had a little bit of spark. but it just seemed like Igwebuike was really a Dan Campbell type of guy to me. Defensive side of the ball, nobody really sticks out as a surprise. I know a lot of people were looking at the linebacker Pittman because of his contributions on special teams last year. But you look at some of the guys they kept, it makes sense. Malcolm Rodriguez, he balled out, right? Rodrigo did his thing. We saw it throughout Hard Knocks. We saw it throughout the preseason. They got the Akwara brothers. Josh Woods played well. He's going to be a special teams guy. So nobody really stands out. I think the guys that made the final 53 were the right guys.
Yeah, it's good stuff by you. I guess, James Houston was the big one for me. I mean, you take this guy he's in the 6th round, but I felt like he had a lot of juice off the edge. You can play him at off-ball outside backer. You can rush him on the edge. That's where I thought he'd have the most production. You figure you develop him, but I think maybe they did that because they probably think they can sneak him back. We would sure hope so. All the fans out there clamoring for Kennedy just because of the way he played. Again, it's preseason. He's a hard worker. He did make some good things happen, but we just had other people at the wide receiver position, in my opinion. Justin Jackson, Igwebuike to me is a coin flip, and Justin Jefferson you picked, and I like that draft pick when they took him to some degree just based on the kid's talent. So I've heard he's had some work ethic issues and whatnot, but when he's in the game, seems to make a few plays here or there. And A.J. Parker, to me, was a guy that I kind of just assumed would be on this team as a slot corner, backup slot corner, nickel, whatever you want to call him. And, it just seems like they couldn't make him. He's not a very big physical player, so they probably can go with Lucas and some other guys, maybe even Hughes inside there, to get some things done. But I'm with you. Like, no huge surprises. A lot of shrewd moves, I think, by Brad Holmes and company, and that's what we'd like to see, no doubt about it.
Now, you brought up Hughes. That's interesting. I would almost say that is a surprise because I didn't expect him to make this team. What did you see that made you think that he would fit, that he's a good fit for this Dan Campbell-led Lions?
Yeah, well, like you said, we didn't see much, but what I know about Mike Hughes as a football player is he's a former first-round pick. He's fast, and he's got that speed you look for. I've been surprised he's kind of been pushed down the depth chart. I thought he'd be, ahead of Will Harris, that's for sure, because Will Harris can't cover anything that he continues to be out there all day, every day. And so Mike Hughes is the type of player, I think you keep him based on his talent, and hopefully he can find a role. I don't know if he can even do some things in the special teams or in the kick return game, but I like his speed, and you don't get picked in the first round by a total mistake. So he's bounced around a little bit, but when he played with KC and stuff, he was a good football player. So I'm glad he's around because until Jury gets back, I feel like you do need that depth at corner. We've never been able to cover anybody. So, we'll see how these work out. I would hope the Lions can add, right now when we're playing the is he a fit gimmick, which I know is Sean Belegion's old thing where anytime anybody would get cut, he gets a million calls to his old radio show. Is he a fit? I mean, I saw that today on Twitter. I'm sure you did as well. Is this guy a fit? Bring this guy in. I like this guy. I was guilty of it as well. But you just never know really what these guys and these coaches are looking for, and I think they lean towards just wanting to have guys they're comfortable with or guys that have the grit and the mentality. So I wouldn't expect any big bold moves, but we can get into that kind of as we get rolling in the show for sure.
Sounds good.
Let me bounce it to this, man. Levi Onwuzurike, a.k.a. Big Denim, as deemed by me on the show. Now, Big Denim has been big injured often. This guy continues not to play. He's got back soreness. He's got all types of issues where he can't get on the football field. Dan Campbell has said he's probably a no-go for Philly, and he said his rehab in general is going, quote, at a snail's pace. Like, not things you want to hear about a high second-round pick, a guy that said he was going to come in and bleep everything up and blow up the line and be all disruptive. I mean, I still love this football player, and I think he's going to be really good if he get his body right, but I don't understand how he's hurt so much, so often, so early.
I mean, Big Denim. I mean, that fits perfectly. This is a big guy who's supposed to come in and eat up space. Now, it might just be me, but maybe it's the training regimen. Maybe he's not eating up space. Levi's just eating, right? He's just out there eating. His goal was set when he hit the NFL, right? There's not that piece that's saying, let me drive. I mean, maybe, the snail's pace is out of his control, but like you said, a snail's pace is not what you want to hear about anybody in athletics. I mean, that's the exact opposite. You're talking Gilbert Brown for the Packers back in the day for snail's pace. Like, Levi, we needed you, man. Like, I don't know what it is. If there's something we can do as champions for the team, let us know. Reach out. We can encourage you. We'll do the Rocky Run with you down the street. Like, come on, man. The defensive line needs you.
Here's the thing, though. This is what I don't agree with you, KP. Like, when I saw Levi's first interview, he wasn't one of the, my top draft targets. I knew he was kind of a top-rated DT. But I fell in love with Big Denim the first time I saw his interview. He's got the crazy nappy hair. He was, just chilling at his house. He sounded like he was just going to blow everything up. Big physical player. He's not one of these height, weight, speed combine guys. He looked just like one of those guys that you wanted in your middle of your defensive line and was just going to be unblockable and a physical beast. And yeah, I haven't seen any of that yet, but I don't think it's a drive issue. I don't think it's this guy's just hanging it up and he's going to ride off into the sunset. But I feel like fans are just, if the guy doesn't come on the scene right away and blow it up, they just write him off. Same what they're doing with Josh Pascal, my other guy that I love on our defensive line. Oh, he should have took somebody else. This guy can't play. Why? Because he's dealing with a little bit of, I don't like Levi's continual injury issues, but I think he's just going to be a Detroit favorite if he get his body right and start doing what he said he's going to do, which is blow up offensive linemen and kill quarterbacks.
You are 100% right there, sir. I mean, if that body gets right and he gets in there and plays, Detroit, one pride, they will have him for the rest of his life. He will be welcome, in their household. So,
I think
I'm with you on that. Yes.
I think we're light on DTs and edges, even though everyone loves Hutch. Charles Harris, I think, is actually becoming a much more impactful player than people even give him credit for. He had a nice year last year. Another former first-round pick, I want to remind people, and a guy that got paid based on his production and work ethic last year. And Dan Campbell says Charles Harris is coming every play, and that's what we hear. So I think that's going to be an underrated signing for the Lions. But when you look at the depth at DT, after the first couple guys, we're a little light. When you look at the first couple edges with no Romeo and his brother is also down, other people that rush the passer are down, AB and Austin Bryant is going to have the ball because they just don't have enough bodies up there. But here's my thing, KP. When they get Pascal and they get Denham and they get Romeo, and we got Hutch and those guys, I think that's when we're going to be terrorizing people. But you might have to be a little bit patient, Kool-Aid drinkers.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that situation, right? It could be, yeah, I mean.
Did I scare you away? I'm pounding the table over here for our D-line, and I lost you.
All right, no, I'm with you. We're thin. I don't know. I mean, like you said, when guys come back, we're formidable. We've got some depth. I don't know if they look to maybe some of these cuts that were out there to try and find some more depth. If they look for a Gene coming out of Denver, McTelvin Agim. If they look at maybe a Malcolm Brown who's been around and had a few spots, or a Mike Purcell who's good against the run but not so good against a pass rush type guy. But with Hutch, with Harris, McNeil, Brockers who still has it, guys get healthy, we're going to be able to rotate different defensive lines in and out. It's going to be almost like 2010.
I sure hope so, and I think it's going to be good, but we'll have to argue about Brockers in a bit because I just haven't seen it from him. And, okay, you're great in the locker room, but I need to see plays on the actual football field when it matters, and I just haven't seen it. Aline gets a lot of love, but I didn't see a ton last year, so I just need him to step up. And I need Pascal and Big Denham to show up. I'm willing to wait, But when you get out there, I need to see production. So, KP, let's do this. Let's keep this thing rolling. I've been telling people all about the Koolaid hotline, 989-272-3484. We played one of your calls where you were repping that One Pride, being able to watch Lions wherever you're at once the NFL actually gets their new NFL Plus. I don't know if you've been on there, but it's been a debacle the first couple weeks where like nothing works, everything's all clunky. But once they get the kinks out, it seems like it'll be nice, especially once they let you watch games everywhere. We've been getting funny calls from a whole bunch of different people, but I thought we'd get into a Bo DeFrisco call here, just to kind of get through our first segment, and then I want to talk some Hard Knocks and preseason and cuts and ads and all the other stuff we got for the show. You ready to jump into this voicemail?
Let's get it.
Bo DeFrisco, loyal listener of the show. I got to rep him, and I had to rep him on this one because I've been trying to coach people up. When you call in the line, I need a gimmick name for yourself, or I need you to come in strong, maybe drop your Twitter handle, maybe come up with something funny. I need you to have a take, and then I need you to get out strong. And I thought Bo did those pretty well here on this call. Here we go.
Yo, Oak. It's Bo DeFrisco, Mr. Iron Lung for Life here, coming at you with a smoke screen. So, Dan Campbell said the other day that this backup QB job is still up for grabs, and the current backup may not be on this team. It sounds like we got a case of last year's kicker situation. Are we going to come out with a 53-man roster, Oak, with no backup quarterback? Please don't say we're going to get Mason I pick fights with Myles Garrett Rudolph as our backup. I mean, gosh, I guess it might be a little better, but wow. Oak, you got to tell me what your thoughts on this are. It's pretty interesting to hear that the other day. So, love the show, man. You guys are always killing it. And, yeah, can't wait for the next one. We got football on Sunday. Hail Detroit Koolaid Cast. I'm out.
KP, before you jump in, here's a couple things. First, Bo, he came in. I think that's his Twitter handle, but I think we're going to have to dub him the Iron Lung. Second of all, I think he lost his place in his script that he was trying to read there at one point. He also gave a nickname that's very at chops in the D worthy, where he like just read off something about someone and then deemed it a nickname. That doesn't work. You got to come up with something like Big Denim or AO or some of these short, catchy things like I do, not Mason Rudolph I pick a fight with. That just doesn't work, Bo. And lastly, your out at the end was good. The fact that you want to talk about backup QBs is somewhat depressing, but I think I'll just kick it to KP because all I see on Twitter are people just like, who's our backup quarterback? We got to change our backup. We're going to get rid of both these stiffs. Oh, we got to go pick up so-and-so. Does it really matter? I mean, they're going to be holding a clipboard, and yeah, Jared Goff can't throw, but I mean, I hope he plays really well, and I don't want to see anybody back there anyway. So does it really even matter? What do you think?
Well, I'm kind of with Bo on this one, Oak. I'm worried about the backup quarterback position. I'm not sad to see Tim Boyle go. He did not perform. He didn't really perform all that well last year. The back and forth in game 3 between Blau and Boyle, Dan Campbell was clearly trying to make it work. Blau is willing to take a little bit more of a risk. He'll run a little bit more. Do I want Mason swinging a helmet? That guy? No, I don't. I don't know what this team's going to do. If Goff does, knock on wood, get hurt, we're in a tough spot. So I'm with Bo on that. I really am.
But I don't know. I mean, there's a couple interesting young cats out there that they can pick up, but I'm not trying to pick up some guy that he needs to be paid a decent chunk. Mason Rudolph's already proven he can't play. I mean, this guy's had a couple chances. He can't do anything. He looks the part, but he's just not it. So we don't need a guy like him. We need to either hope Jared Goff can actually throw spirals and finally be good, or get rid of him here soon and go get ourselves a young stallion. So I'm not overly worried about the backup quarterback. If it was me, I would probably just ditch Blau and say, man, you just have an incredible story, and I hope you live next to me, but you can't be my backup quarterback. Tim Boyle, wherever he's going to go, it doesn't matter, and go get myself, some project guy that, I mean, the other thing, though, with the backup QB, and we got to keep it moving, is to me, it's much more of a tape studier / is he buddies with the starter rather than what his actual talents are. You don't see many good backups. They're just good ho-hum guys that know how to study tape and are hard workers. I mean, that's probably what you're going to see regardless of who the Lions put back there. And if David Blau is that guy for them, congratulations, because he probably makes about $500K. So let's do this, man. I'm going to rapid fire a couple Hard Knocks things, and let's get to our commercial break. And KP, I got to say this. I heard one of your previous shows on Real Deal Sports Talk, and you were going on and on about how you don't like Hard Knocks, should be kept in the locker room. I'm not a Hard Knocks guy. I don't know. I don't get anything out of it, blah, blah, blah. It's do you realize this is the greatest thing ever for Lions fans, that we get to see Dan Campbell dropping F-bombs behind the scenes, motivating his team, Deuce and AG going after it? This has just been absolute TV gold for me. I've loved every minute of it. And this last episode, I mean, Swag to me was the star. He was getting after people in Indianapolis. This guy is a dog. That's spelled D-A-W-G. We need more D-A-W-G-S's, more dogs on this football team. I just felt like he was really fun to watch. A nice, funny guy like that, but he was not playing around in that scrimmage. I felt like the coaches were all setting a tone, which I love. I loved when Deuce lost his voice. That was incredible. I mean, what do you think of these last couple episodes, despite you hating the show and that being a horrible take for all the Kool-Aid drinkers out there?
All right. Yeah. Call me out on that one, Oak. I definitely put that out there. I definitely have to say I have enjoyed watching Hard Knocks. I'm not saying I'm fully flipped, but I have enjoyed, as a champion for the Lions, watching this. And you're right. I mean, you look at Swag. He has been not just the star of the last episode. He started off in episode 1. That emotion that he showed in that episode, being willing to be that open and that vulnerable in front of the teammates and lay it out there like that. Then in that joint practice, hitting the Colts, going at the Colts, bringing that energy to the practice. That's a guy I would go to battle with. The coaches, they've been setting the tone. You said it. Deuce lost his voice. That's because he's out there. He's in it. That back and forth between him and AG. Oh man, that's classic moments. Those are coaches you want to play with. Coach Shepard, that's a guy you want to play with. Seeing the up downs from Coach Campbell, it just instills team. It instills culture. It instills let's go to work, guys. So I've been loving it. I might flip. I knew somebody was going to call me out on it, Oak. I just didn't know it was going to be you.
Well, I'm glad you've come around, because your first opinion of it's gotta be kept in the locker room. This is sacred material.
It's a bad decision. Period. Point blank. It was one of the dumbest decisions I ever made.
That's what I think about that. So I'm loving it. I feel like the coaches are motivating. They're treating the players incredibly. But I need wins. I need W's. I don't need a bunch of, oh, man, they sounded good. And, man, look at how hard they were working. And then we come out and we don't play ball when it matters. And this season and next is when I expect this big-time jump from this football team. So, everybody, we got to get our great sponsors in here. You got to go check out realitysportsonline.com. You got to go check out PFF All 22 Fantasy Football. Head over to Anchor Podcasts and check them out, as well as Spotify. If you're listening to us, you don't have an Apple iPhone, which I don't know why you'd have an Android, but if you do, you got to go hit up Spotify. That's the easiest way to catch it if you're not going through the Apple app and all the other goodness that's out there. So, KP, let's take a break, man, get our sponsors in here. When we come back, man, we still got so much Lions to talk about, man.
So much. Let's do it.
Everybody, we'll be right back. All right, everybody. this goes out to my fantasy football fans out there. Now, you probably heard about Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners can build and manage their fantasy team like a real NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? I mean, we're talking free agency, multi-year contracts, rookie drafts, multi-team trades. You can put franchise tags on guys. It's as close as you're going to get to being an NFL GM. But do you think it sounds complicated? It's not. I'm here to tell you it's the best thing about Reality Sports Online is it's just more fun than your normal fantasy league, but it doesn't take barely any more time. After all this, are you still not sure? I mean, come on now. You can test your general manager skills by going over to Reality Sports Online, call it RSO. Please go check out realitysportsonline.com right now. Kool-Aid drinkers are back from the break. Thank you so much for listening and checking those out. As I always say, we do this show for the people. You guys know who we are. You also know I'm trying to find the soundbite, which I have here, and it's obviously me and KP are trying to entertain you. The people.
And the people consist of the millions.
We enjoy doing this show, talking Detroit Lions, and appreciate you guys checking out our sponsors as well as sharing this. I mean, it's football time. Real ball starts in about a week and a half. Philly is coming to the D, and we got lots to talk about that, both on this show and moving forward. That's going to be a big football game. But KP, let's get right into it, man. The Lions were on national TV in Pittsburgh. Seems like we've been playing the Steelers a lot. It's preseason football. I mean, were you enthralled by this matchup? Was it what I think it was? What did you take away from it, man?
Enthralled.
Not so much.
Well, I mean, maybe I could argue enthralled. I did tune in, definitely watched, saw some guys splash. But, yeah, it wasn't a big one. I feel like, the 53 was pretty much decided. Maybe they're looking at some practice squad guys. But, no, enthralled was definitely not it. Hutchinson shined. I mean, the effort, he's going to draw 15, 20 holding calls this year. Barnes, he had some flashes that I really enjoyed. He was hitting the right holes in game 3. So, yeah, I don't know. You don't take a lot away from that one.
When I said, were you enthralled, I should have just played this soundbite.
No chance, so that's what you got.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, is enthralled by preseason football. It's so horrible. Like, the NFL has us hooked. We're like, oh man, preseason, I can't wait to watch this. The minute I sit down for these games, it's about 10 minutes before I start looking for other things to do while I got the game on in the background. I know there's some people that want to tell you they're like breaking down the tape, and I saw this, I saw that. Oh, let me get the all 22 view. This is just not real NFL ball, man, on any frame or any form or fashion. Like, it's just hard to watch. I mean, I love the Lions as much as more than anybody, but I can barely make it through these preseason games. I mean, people were telling you like, oh, the first team defense stood up against the I mean, we're going against Mitch. I mean, this guy, he tears up the Lions, but he's Mitch Trubisky. Like, this guy's horrible. I mean, he's throwing dimes up over the top. He makes a few plays. Like, I like that play Mr. Okuda had where he got his hands on the football against the new Hall of Famer George Pickens. I mean, the guy has a couple good games, and everyone's just anointing this cat. It's like, come on, man. I mean, Mr. Okuda, nice play. I like that you threw Derek Barnes out there. Again, he doesn't have the right spelling on his first name, but other than that, I love everything about this football player. He's been coming around slow. I don't know if it was a snail's pace or not. You have to ask Dan Campbell. But, like, Derek Barnes to me is a physical beast. Like, just find a role for him and let him play the game. Don't nitpick this guy. I mean, I bet he can play better just based on his physical traits than Anzalone and the other guys we're putting out there. So let 55 do his thing. Other than that, I mean, I didn't pick up too much. My boy DJ Chark was out there, but he just has not got no footballs in the preseason. So that's either, just because Goff hasn't been there, or maybe they're hiding this guy, KP. Maybe they don't want to show people what number 4 has got, what Mr. Chark's going to do when the games matter. I think he's going to be really dynamic and fun to watch. ARSB made a few plays here or there, but the Lions just clunking around all day with Boyle and Blau and Boyle out there. I mean, give me a break. I like what you said about Hutch, that he's been getting those holdings, and gosh, he's just been better than advertised, hasn't he? Like, he just fits everything we need on this team. I had a few worries that maybe his physical, he might get kind of out-athleted at the NFL level, or offensive tackles might just stick to him like glue, but this guy is just getting penetration, getting after the quarterback, doing everything we love, and he just fits everything the Lions need from top to bottom, on the field, off the field. Love everything about number 97.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how can you not? This is a guy, I mean, you'd almost think he was a cousin to the Watt family with the way he plays the position at his size.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like,
this
better
far
than,
along already,
yeah.
I didn't see.
Getting rave reviews everywhere, which is incredible. And here's the thing I just want to hit on for the preseason. The preseason is really about, like, just sort of hiding everything you got in your magic bag there when it comes to offense and defense, and not getting stupid injuries like hamstring pulls or somebody tears their ACL. But like I always say, football, you could get hurt on any play, any game, any day. So I understand why they don't put the guys out there. But the Lions, this is one of the least injured preseasons when it comes to like in-game or in-practice injuries. Like, yes, we already talked about Big Denham and Pascal and some guys coming back. Just wait till the new number 9 gets out there, Jamison Williams, a.k.a. J-Mo, a.k.a. my favorite player on the team. I mean, there's a nickname for Chops and Bo DeFrisco there. But like, don't you think we got out pretty unscathed when it comes to stupid crap? Like, we're still a little banged up at a few spots, but I think we're pretty dang healthy, ready to roll.
Man, all of One Pride knows that this team is normally very plagued with injuries, hamstrings, just the random stuff. I drove my car in trying to reach the pizza and hit the median on the highway and broke my arm with Nate Burleson years ago.
Exactly.
Like, we are plagued. So yeah, I mean, that we've come out this clean, it's positive. It's positive.
I mean, I'm excited about it.
Woo!
I think when we unleash DeAndre Swizzle, so when we unleash Swift on people, they're not going to know when to hit them. When like Hawkinson and Chark and St. Brown and Reynolds and Swift and Swag, and did I mention our 5 beasts up front are unloading on people? Like, I think it's going to be something to be handled, and I think AG's got some stuff in the back pocket too. I mean, you don't think he's bringing all his blitzes and things that he wants to do. So the fact that we're not all dinged up for no reason, and the fact that we're going to get some nasty dogs back here pretty soon and be able to run what we want to run. Wait till Ben John. You think he was creative last year pulling out plays? The guy's had a whole off season and he's got ball players now. So I think we're just going to be healthy. Again, it might take those first 4 weeks to get Pascal, Denham, and I expect J-Mo out there by like week 6 at the latest. I think our bye week's right after that, so they could be extra cautious. But I say play the guy if he's ready. He seems like you probably saw the clip where seemed like he was at the Rodwood headquarters running nasty comeback routes at 10 p.m. at night or whatever it was recently, and he looked good. So I don't know why I'd hold him back if he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the way surgeries go these days, the way these guys are coming back, and I know everybody's different, that's to be expected, but the healing power that these guys have, the way the surgeries are done on such a microscopic level now, they're coming back faster. And the faster he's back, the more that $120 million offense we have is just going to fly. I mean, you listed the weapons. I don't need to relist them. Everybody knows what we're coming to the table with. There's some legitimate excitement on the offensive side of the ball, outside of Jared Goff.
Well, I really hope he plays well. I'm rooting for the guy. I hope to at least have over, 18.5 spirals for the entire season is kind of the over-under, I think. But we'll see how that works out. Let me just say this. Like, what we're saying is preseason doesn't matter. I got pissed the first game because they lost a game they shouldn't have lost because of David Blau just dropping a snap. But I calmed down. I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying Hard Knocks. I enjoy Dan Campbell. I like what we have on this team. I realize they're not necessarily Super Bowl ready, but I think we're going to be really fun to watch this year. I'm not all caught up in ultra high expectations, but I think it's just going to be a very enjoyable season. The preseason was the anti-enjoyable. You know how Dan Campbell has anti-fragile? Anti-enjoyable is the preseason. It's just unwatched. NFL just either get rid of it or it's why would you go to a game and watch third stringers? It makes no sense to me. So let's just put that to bed. I want to get to some rapid fire, interesting, like guys that were cut, guys that we might pick up. And I just want to lead off with, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Like, what is going on with Romeo Okwara? Like, I haven't heard a damn thing about him. I haven't seen him. He got injured, I understand, but is this guy going to be back anytime soon? I love this player. I love that we paid him, and the minute that check cleared, his Achilles burst, and he's been in a cave since. What's going on with Romeo, man?
I mean, wouldn't we like to know? As you said, wherefore art thou, Romeo? The team's being very cautious with what they release about him. We haven't seen him. We haven't seen a lot out there on the practice field. No real reports coming from the back end anywhere. So, I mean, if he's out there again, if we can be healthy, he's another addition. He's another piece. He can come off the end. We'll have to see what he has. Once the tires start falling off and you start accumulating lower leg injuries, it's hard for guys to come back sometimes. I know I just said the thing about the surgeries are getting stronger, but this one seems to be stringing itself out a little bit.
You said it earlier, like, well, everybody's different, everything's that everybody recover. Like, that's the thing Dan Campbell's been using, but I just want some positive up. I want to know he's at the facility. Can he lift weights? Can he walk upright? Is he doing well? Do we expect him back in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12? Couldn't tell you at this point. So, and he makes about, $15 million probably on average nowadays. So it's kind of important. But I'm with you there. I hope he can come back. I hope his brother steps up too, because he's getting hated on now as kind of like an injury-prone, unproductive player. And I had high hopes for Julian this year and still do, but he's got to show it on the football field. So let me ask you this. Again, this is KP from Real Deal Sports Talk. We were thinking about doing kind of like a crossover where I do half the show, he does half the show, but instead, this is straight up Koolaid Cast. I'm giving it to you. I'm kind of leading the show. Who knows what we might do in the future? We have KP probably back on a regular basis. It's been fun chatting with you. But let's get into some players. Like, did you have any issues with Tom Kennedy? Did you have any problems with him getting cut? Anthony Pittman, who's like the Tom Kennedy of defense, or what's our old joke when they would just call Andre Fluellen every week and bring him back every week from the bowling alley? It's like that's what Pittman and Kennedy are for this football team now. And AJ Parker cuts, did those infuriate you, or just like, yeah, whatever?
I mean, Parker showed up for us last year, right? He started for us. He was solid. He gave us everything he had. Kennedy's I hate to say this. I know, he's beloved, but he's a camp body.
Yeah.
He makes splashes against the third stringers. Pittman, camp body. I mean, yeah, he's that guy. You can put him out there. He's going to do his job. But it's never going to be special. It's never going to be the difference maker. And sometimes when you're building that foundation, when you're building up a program the way these guys are, you need attitudes like that to push the other guys to bring their best out, right? They come in, they're pushing the other guys. They're going, okay, if he's playing that hard, I've got to play that hard. And then you start building things up from there. And I think that's the culture that they're working on right now.
I'm glad you said it about Tom Kennedy, because I didn't want to say it, but it had to be said. Like, that's what it is. Like, if anybody didn't realize what Dan freaking Campbell kept saying is when they'd ask him about Tom Kennedy, he'd go, he's reliable. That's all he is. He's consistent. That's all he is. And like everybody took that as like he was just being funny or that was some like token of appreciation when really I kept hearing that's all he is in bold. Like he didn't bloviate about the guy for 10 minutes because, by the way, he's Tom Kennedy. Shout out to my boy Wagner who had the audacity, had the what's the Stephen Smith, had the blasphemy to say that he was Cooper Kupp of the preseason. Are you kidding me? It's Tom Kennedy, bro. So that was funny. Let me ask you about Igwe Buke, another guy who I thought was getting too much love based on what I saw him do last year. And Justin Jackson, who's a player I like. Everyone's infuriated that either of those guys didn't make it over Jamar. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I felt like Jamar is better than Igwe Buke, but I didn't know that he was better than Justin Jackson. But Justin Jackson was here for a cup of coffee, so they just went with the rookie they took. That's what I took from it. But, I mean, Jefferson's no lock to make it, and Justin Jackson's no stud either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Justin Jackson, to me, I mean, you got a handful of one, you got a handful of the other. Justin Jackson, I could have seen contributing more on special teams than either one of those other two. Like I said earlier with Igwe, I mean, he's just a heart guy. He's all heart. He's all hustle. You know, he's another one of those camp bodies. He's consistent, right? He's going to be there. He's going to do his job, but it's never going to be special. So seeing them go, deserve a spot, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you can get him back on the practice squad just because he's been part of the culture change, you have him around. Outside of that, I mean, we're building up now. We're no longer just taking the scraps.
Yeah, like no one's going to be rushing to get Godwin Igwe Buke. All respect to him and his family, but it's like he'll be around if needed. Justin Jackson, if he gets picked up, no big deal. Same, no big deal when we start talking about kickers. I mean, I know there are people too, but Seibert made it. Riley Patterson didn't. I mean, Riley Patterson, probably a guy you can keep around as well. Let me ask you this. This is one I want to throw at you. So the tight end depth chart's been a little bit thin throughout. It's T, J, Hawkinson, and then Brock Wright and Mitchell and, you know, whoever else we got back there that we have some hopes for, but not much after number 88. Now, O.J. Howard got cut. He's been cut by multiple teams now. I loved this guy at the Senior Bowl. He looked like the prototypical all-pro stud tight end. He can block, he can catch. He's from Alabama. He does everything you love, and he just has not translated at NFL level. So this is one of those big names. Oh, he's supposed to be good, but he's never good. I just feel like it's a mentality at this point. Like, he just must not have it, both from a toughness factor. So I don't see this guy being picked up or considered by the Lions. But you'd love the Lions to finally get a guy like that would come here and flourish for whatever reason, like a real pedigreed player. But I don't see it happening. What about you?
No, I mean, this guy's not even Brandon Pettigrew, right? I mean, yeah. He hit his stardom peak while he was at Alabama. I had high hopes for him coming into the NFL. And honestly, when he came out, I'm with you. I was hoping that the Lions were going to get him. But he hasn't shown it. He has battled some injuries in where was he at? Tampa Bay, Buffalo. Good blocker, though. You know, could we put him on the other side of a Hawkinson and have him be a blocker? Will he be willing to do that? Is it more of a name value type of a guy? I don't see it. I think his price tag would be too much for what we're looking at.
Right.
But I see the excitement. I mean, it's name value.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be shocked, but I mean, gosh, it would be nice. I don't think he's a blocker. I think he's much more of a guy that should be used in the passing game, but he just seems like that ship has sailed on this player. I brought up earlier that I would have considered moving on from Michael Brockers based on what I've seen, but obviously the team's not going to do that. Do you think he's going to show up this year, or do you think it's going to be another where you barely notice him, we pay him $10-15 million, whatever his average is, and then he rides off into the sunset this offseason? What do you think?
I think you just said it right there. I think this is his last season. He's what, 30, I want to say 33 or 34 after this season, and his best year next to Aaron Donald. We don't have an Aaron Donald type guy. We have a unit that needs to work together in our defense right now. And he doesn't make those splashes without Aaron Donald next to him. So as being a Brad Holmes guy, being that veteran guy, I see his value. But like you said earlier, you got to have more than just a locker room presence. You got to help create W's on the field, and he's not doing that right now.
I think Dan Campbell was quoted as saying he wielded the hammer of Thor. I don't even know what that even means, because that's totally out of my I don't know, watching schedule, or if that's a movie or a show. I couldn't even tell you, but it sounds awesome, but I haven't seen him wield anything recently. So, I mean, I would be ready to thank him for his presence and get a ball player in here for his price tag. But as you said, and as we noted, probably next year. Let's do 2 rapid fires, then I want you to tell people about where they can find your pod and all this stuff. To me, like, the safety depth just hasn't been there. Like, you know, I'm hoping that Tracy takes a big step forward and actually gets his go-go gadget arms on a few footballs this year, but we'll wait and see. That's TBD, if you ask me. You know, we've got Sean Elliott, who I told Brad Holmes to pick up weeks and months before he did, and then he did. So he's obviously following me on Twitter at Derek Okrie. That's spelled DEREK, OKRIE. Appreciate that, Mr. Holmes. And after that, you got the young kid Kirby, and you know, who knows pretty much after that, another body. So they only got about 3-4 deep back there. I mean, Anthony Harris, Vernon McKinley, a rookie that I liked a lot that dropped down the draft board, got cut loose. Do you think they'll add to that position group? I feel like their linebacker and even up front with some of the injuries we talked about might be areas they need to add to bolster that defense.
I can see it. I mean, I think AG trusts his guys. I think he would roll with those guys anywhere, but Brad Holmes sure is watching the waiver wire. I mean, there's veterans out there like a Tony Jefferson. I think Philadelphia released, what's his name? Tariff, and Logan Ryan's out there. So there's a few safeties they might look at to bring some veteran presence back there. But with Deshaun Elliott, with Tracy Walker, I think AG might be convinced that his system, some of those tricks in his bag, he can make it work.
KP, I got to help you with that pronunciation because it's one of the best names in all sports, and that's Jaquiski Tart. We should just sign him just because of his name. I've wanted Jaquiski Tart on my team ever since he came in the National Football League. I don't even know if he can play anymore. It doesn't matter. That's a tremendous name. You know, we'll see what happens. I mean, we've kind of hit on it. I go back and forth with my boy Chops about Jared Goff. I mean, do you have a take on Jared Goff that you want to give me? I mean, do you think he can throw? Do you think this guy's all of a sudden going to back up all the positivity this whole offseason, or is he going to be the same guy, or is he going to be Super Bowl Goff? I mean, where do you stand with it?
Jared Goff is a good quarterback if on a great team. He got to that Super Bowl. Kind of like, all right, think of Jared Goff this way. He's Matt Leinart on the USC Trojans.
Yeah.
That's Jared Goff.
Yeah. That sounds about right to me. Like, I'm going to root for this guy because he's our Lions quarterback. I think he has a good head on his shoulders. He's shown good leadership since he's been here. He's active in the community. He says all the right things. I get it. But the way the ball wobbles out of his hand on every throw, it's like, do I trust this guy in the fourth quarter to make the big time throw on a playoff clinching game? Not at this point. But if he can dink and dunk and throw some deep balls this year, I mean, I could see him being productive. And it's all about W's, man. Come in here and win, Jared Goff. I don't care what your ducks look like that you're throwing around the football field. Just find a way to win with the talent we've given you, which is much bolstered. I don't want to hear him a couple injuries and have him go in the tank. You know, if these guys are healthy, get him the ball, make plays for sure. And gosh, that's the big linchpin. You know, we could go on and on about it, but he's going to be whether this team goes or not, in my opinion. All the other guys that we've touted, the defense, which people are questioning, it's not going to matter if Goff can keep him on the football field and keep him in front of the chains. And that's a wait and see for me, but I'm rooting like heck for him, that's for sure. So, KP, man, this was like a you've been trying to have me on. I was like, let's just do this combo show. You were nice enough to come on. We just kind of hit record and rolled. I think it was fun talking Lions with you, man. I want you to tell people what you're doing with your pod, any other ventures, when it's on, where they can find you. And it's been great having you on the Koolaid Cast, man.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on. One Pride family. Love you all too. You can catch me every Sunday right now, Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. I'm on all of your major podcast services. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, check me out. Website, realdealsportstalkwithkp.com. And yeah, man, I look forward to talking with you guys with the One Pride family more in the future. And it's all love.
No doubt, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. I'm going to blame all internet issues on you for the cutting out. I think that's been happening on your end. I don't know if you're speaking into a tin can or not. KP, I got to warn you that I'm going to light you up in fantasy football this year, both in any of the normal leagues we're in and especially that college fantasy football league we've done. But I know me and you are fired up for our Lions. Real ball is starting. I'm going to be at the Philly game. I'm going to be rowdy. I can't wait to drink that Detroit Kool-Aid.
Drink it in, man.
Serve it up for the people. Side of cornbread.
Cornbread!
Got to make it too.
Cornbread!
And drink that Kool-Aid all year. Root our Lions on. So everybody, we'll catch you next week right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Pack the bag. Start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.